So, Amber, it's lovely to meet you. Pleasure to have you on. We went to see Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey the other day. That's quite some film. But before we get into that, your background is in science.
Yeah.
So you got your degree in that. What made you get into acting?
So I've actually been acting since I was a child. That's always been like the first passion in my life. When I was at school, I'd do musicals, plays, pantomimes, anything I could to kind of like itch the acting bug. And I always knew it's what I wanted to do. But when I was at school, I had this realization at 18 years old, which is now looking back, I'm like, wow, I was actually quite mature at that age. I just had this realization one day, and I was like, what if acting doesn't work out? I should really have a plan B just in case, because I've always been very independent. I'm an only child. My parents are self-employed, and I thought, let me just have something to fall back on just in case. And I love science and maths. I'm a massive nerd, and physics was always my favorite subject at school. So I thought, super random, why don't I just go to university, get a bachelor's degree in theoretical physics, as you do, and then once I graduated, just focus on acting full time, knowing that if it doesn't work out, it's okay, and I've got another path that I can go down. So I graduated, I've kind of got that in the back pocket, and then it was just full speed ahead with the acting.
Right. So your back catalogue is quite impressive. And it's a variety of genres, but and you have appeared in some horror previously, but Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey is like nothing you've done before, it seems to me. How did your agent and the director, Reese Waterfield, pitch the whole project to you?
So I read the synopsis for the film, and like so many people out there, Winnie the Pooh was a really big part of my childhood. I had the cuddly toys, I watched all the films, I had the games on my PlayStation, I had everything. And I never thought I'd be able to re-appreciate those characters as an adult. So when I read the synopsis, I was like, this is actually really interesting. And I love horror films. Like, I've had the privilege of playing leading roles in about, oh my goodness, maybe like 23 British horror feature films now. So it's one of my favorite things to watch, one of my favorite things to act in. And obviously, I love Winnie the Pooh as well. So I thought, oh, this is kind of cool. It's like two things that I love merged together. And what I thought was really fantastic about the synopsis is that nowadays it's really difficult to find a film that's actually an original idea,
Hmm.
something unique, because everything's either a prequel or a sequel or a franchise or a remake. And this is genuinely like a completely original idea. And I kind of fell in love with it. And then I read the script and I play Alice and I fell in love with the character. And I was like, oh my God, I need to be involved in this project. It's crazy, but I'm totally here for it.
So this was, from what I can gather, was quite a hard shoot, quite a quick shoot,
Yeah.
low budget. So you've got special effects, you've got night shoots in here. It looks like you've shot in quite cold conditions. You must have been, and the crew must have been quite exhausted shooting this.
To be honest, that is just the nature of the beast when it comes to low budget independent filmmaking. I've worked on so many low budget films now, and it's very common to have 16, 18, sometimes 20-hour days working at night predominantly for horror films, makes sense. And in really cold conditions, to be honest, it's something that I'm used to. I'm originally from the north. I'm from York. So to me, even when it's raining, I'm like, this is sunbathing weather. It's fine. So personally, it doesn't bother me too much. I just make sure that I've got like a nice warm jacket with me and some hot chocolate to look forward to after we finish filming. But yeah, it is definitely I would say that horror films are quite tough to film, but I really enjoy the challenge personally.
So the makeup in this is
Yes.
well, it's impressively gruesome.
Yeah.
A lot of the kills in it. So how did you find your experience working with this sort of level of effects, even though you have done quite a lot of horror previously?
Yep, so I'd say this film probably has the most CGI of any film that I've worked in, but even so, there wasn't really that much in Blood and Honey. So I'd say it was probably 80 to 85% practical effects. We had some really great makeup artist special effects people working on this. Sorry, as in like practical effects. So pretty much everything that you see when it's a death or someone being injured, it is practical. Obviously, there's a couple of things, for example, someone's eye popping out, which is obviously CGI, and like a car running over someone, again, CGI. Aside from that, I think there was a teeny tiny bit of special effects blood done in post when someone got their head smashed in the pool. again for obvious reasons. And also in the film, which is kind of cool, Pooh has the ability to control bees. Now, I wish that we had the ability to control bees as filmmakers, but we don't. So that was also CGI. But everything else was practical. There was a lot of fake blood on set. And yeah, it was just really cool seeing the makeup artists kind of work their magic and create these awesome prosthetics and watch the whole process and then see it put on the actors. And then the final result is just really cool. Like, I have a lot of admiration for everyone in like the makeup department.
How about your particular scene where things
Yeah.
come to an end for you? How did you
No
find
CGI. Everyone's saying it's CGI, and I'm like, nope, that was an uncomfortable scene to film.
that? Right.
If once you see the film, you'll see what I mean. But there was a while where I was just chilling against the tree with, oh, this is going to sound strange out of context, but something in my mouth. And anyway, I'm going to leave it there
We'll
before
stop
I
it
dig
there.
myself a hole.
Yeah. Anyone watching this, it's not that kind of film.
I was going to say, I was like, oh no, out of context, it's really not R-rated, I promise you.
Yeah, I just hope no one makes a meme of that particular
Oh no, oh God, I know what I've started.
so as I say, you've done horror, but you've also done comedy, and you've filmed
Yeah.
a lot of comedy pranks as well. Now, I'd heard that Chris Cordell, who plays Piglet, and Craig David Dowsett, who plays Winnie the Pooh, they were playing a few pranks on set. Did you get an opportunity to do that kind of stuff as well?
I didn't really see anyone do any pranks that I'm aware of. Maybe that was on one of the days that I wasn't there. I wanted to prank people, but I think there's a time and a place, and the fact that we were working such long days in such cold conditions, I realized
Yeah.
very quickly, oh, tensions are high. This is not the place for pranking. But like it was really nice. It was a really great vibe on set. But what I've noticed in particular is, especially with night shoots, people get very tired very easily. So it's best not to prank people, but whenever there's day shoots, if you're on a day shoot set with me, then look out because pranks are plenty.
So, despite all the horror that's in this,
Yeah.
I've heard that it was often difficult to keep a straight face at times
Yeah.
when the cast had to say certain lines that had the word poo in them.
Yeah.
So it was, so oh, don't do it, poo. I'm sorry for poo, this sort of thing. Is that true? Did you find that?
Yeah, it is. So, oh, it's not even the word poo. I just remember this one scene in particular where there's a shot of it in the trailer, so I think I'm okay to mention it. I get kidnapped by Pooh. Still makes me giggle now when I say it. I get kidnapped by Pooh and he ties me up and he's kind of stood over me very ominously, like dropping honey on my face. And I remember we had to do that take about 5 times because the director, Reese, couldn't stop laughing. And at the end of every take, I was like, Reese, stop laughing, man. Like, I'm trying to be scared and serious. And he's in the background, like, hee hee hee. And it was just so funny. And like Craig and Chris were great. And like just like you said, when we weren't filming, they were cracking jokes. Craig was like flossing doing that Fortnite dance. So it was so much fun. And I knew reading the script that there were going to be moments when it would be difficult to keep a straight face just because the concept itself it's a very amusing concept, but I think that really lends to the popularity of the film and why people are enjoying it so much.
So, with
Mhm.
it being what it is and who it's about, have you heard of any feedback or reaction from Disney?
Oh, so as far as I'm aware, Disney haven't commented. I know that people from some big production companies have watched it whilst it's been in cinemas in LA, but I don't know about Disney as of yet. I also do a lot of work on social media, and there's some people that I've worked with at Disney, for example, like when I've been invited to film premieres, and they've messaged me saying that they've seen it and they really enjoyed it. So I know people in the company have seen it, but they haven't commented publicly, so I don't know what that means.
Right.
But then again, I guess it must be strange for them. But at the end of the day, like the characters came into the public domain last January. We're using the Pooh and the Piglet from A.A. Milne's books, not the Disney version. So there's not really anything that they can say, but it would be really interesting to see if they liked it. I would love to know that.
I think the reaction is going to be very interesting from Disney from this,
Yeah.
and for some other characters which are coming out of copyright over the next sort of couple of years or so.
Yeah.
So the whole film ends with Winnie the Pooh will be back. So
Yes.
what can you tell us about any sequel?
So there is a sequel. It's already been confirmed. I think they said it's got like 5 times the budget. I'm pretty sure the first one was filmed on like £30,000, so that means we've got about 150,000 to play with for the sequel, which is cool. I can say that like none of the human characters in the first film come back in the sequel, so they had a concept for what they wanted to do, but that had to be changed for some creative differences with some of the cast. I was never meant. Oh, spoilers.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Never mind. Maybe
You may not be in the sequel, let's put it
yeah.
that
Oh
way.
no. I keep doing this. This is like the second interview being like, I was never supposed to come back. Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. Moving swiftly on.
Maybe it'll be a prequel.
Yes, exactly. Oh my goodness, I keep digging myself in a hole here. So obviously Pooh is back. Other characters I cannot confirm nor deny. But I can say that characters which weren't in the first film that should be in the sequel include, I believe, Owl and Rabbit. So there's going to be more characters kind of from that universe that people can see, which will be nice.
Excellent. And then finally, Amber, obviously you've done a lot of appeared in a lot of films, a lot of roles. We ask a lot of actors this. What is the role that maybe you turned down or even auditioned for and turned down that in retrospect you think, why didn't I take that role? I should have gone for that role.
Um, Oh, let me think. See, I'm in the habit of I won't audition for something if I don't think I'm suitable. So if I audition for a role, I'm pretty much committed. So then if it's offered to me, like, I'd never put myself in a situation to turn down a role, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because if I'm not suitable, I'd just say no from the offset. Like I remember a few years ago, I was asked to apply. It was an independent film, and I can't remember how they worded it, but the application process was really strange, and it sounded as though it was for based around like families of minority ethnicity, and obviously I'm Caucasian. And they asked me to apply, and I reached out, and I was like, "Oh, I don't think I'd be a good fit here." And they were like, "Oh no, it's fine. We can change the story." And I was like, "No, I think representation is really important. I really don't think you should have a white person playing this character. Like, please stick to what it should be, stick to BAME ethnicities." And that's what they did. So I'd say that's probably the only time that I've been like, I don't think I'm a good fit for this project, but rightly so. I mean, white people have enough representation. It's about time other ethnicities do. But I'm trying to think roles that I auditioned for. I remember I auditioned for a role in Foundation, the TV series. And oh my God, that was probably one of my favorite self tapes that I ever did. There was this one scene and it was so emotional. And they specified in the script it was just like a single tear rolling down the cheek. And I thought I nailed that audition, but I didn't get it. And I think that was probably one of the hardest rejections just because when you really think that you've nailed an audition, sometimes you've not done a great job, and sometimes you feel like, oh, that was it. And then when you don't get it, oh, it's heartbreaking. But again, it's just the nature of the beast. I keep saying it's just how the acting industry is. But yeah, apart from that one time, I haven't turned down roles because I feel very lucky to be offered roles. So I don't really want to say no. If someone thinks I'm suitable and I agree, then I'm all for it.
I feel the same way myself when I turned down a role of James Bond. Oh, I've said too much. I've said
You
too
would have
much.
made a great James Bond. I would have definitely watched that film.
Yeah, I think you'd be the only one, to be honest, Amber.
Well, you'd watch it as well. That'd be two viewers. I'd bring my parents. We'd get at least four people there.
Brilliant, brilliant. I'm sure the broccolis will sleep easy now. Great. Well, thank you for your time, Amber. I wish you all the best, and I look forward to speaking to you again.
Thank you very much, Simon. Thank you so much for having me on. It was so lovely talking to you.